I am Dawn. Oh, good morning. Happy Thursday. I am Dawn Vason, and I am here to kick off this conference with you all. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to share this space with you all and share with you how you can heal holistically through yoga practices. So, for those of you who do not know me, I am Dawn Vason. I'm a 500-hour yoga teacher. I am a certified Okay, I think I was having some technical difficulties there, but hopefully we're okay now. For those of you who don't know me, hello, I am Dawn Vason. I am a 500-hour yoga teacher, certified life coach, and I am a yoga therapist in training. And I found yoga about 7 years ago. So I want to quickly tell you my story and how I was able to connect with myself and begin to heal holistically through yogic practices. So, like most people, when I first decided I wanted to try out yoga, I went searching on YouTube for yoga videos, right? And like most people, I was immediately discouraged. I was not a thin, able-bodied, flexible person, and I didn't think that yoga was for me. I really wanted to try it. I heard that it was great for you, and I heard that people had these amazing experiences, and I really wanted to be a part of that. However, I found the practice to be a bit inaccessible for me, inaccessible for my size, inaccessible for my schedule, and just not fun. So I tried out a couple of classes, found out that I almost passed out halfway through the class, and decided to maybe put it on the shelf for a while. But I ended up looking into a course. I was able to dive deeper into what yoga actually was and how I could practice in different ways. And I was introduced to the 8 limbs of yoga and the different ways that I was able to practice.
Through being introduced to the 8 limbs of yoga, I understood that one, I was already practicing yoga. I just didn't know it and hadn't put a name to it. And number two, with the practices that I was implementing that worked well for me as an individual, I was able to create a contingency plan that helped support me in the weakest of times, in the times where I had insane anxiety or massive bouts of depression, in the times where I was struggling with what was going on in life and not able to cope. Let me tell you a little bit about me. About 11 years ago, my spouse suffered a brain aneurysm. During this time, we ended up losing everything, and life for us changed as we know it. We ended up getting to a point where we were financially down in the dumps. We ended up homeless. We had no jobs. I was pregnant, and everything seemed to be falling apart in our lives. At the same time, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. So I really was looking for something that I could do to heal holistically. And I went back and forth with yoga and how I could try it out. But again, I didn't think it was accessible. So once I was introduced to the 8 limbs of yoga, I began to know and understand that yoga was a lot deeper than what I thought it was. It wasn't just stretching. It was a way for me to connect with myself, find my authentic self, love myself, give myself compassion, and really learn to thrive instead of just be alive. And so healing through yogic practices became my crutch for everything. Even prior to coming into this session, of course, I'm filled with anxiety. I have to speak and get in front of a camera, in front of people that I don't know, and I don't know what's going to happen. But a few minutes using the tools that I've created for myself, like meditation, journaling, and just having a moment to myself changed everything for me. And so I want to share with you all the tools that I use that make everything work better for me. It helps me keep my chakras aligned. It helps me stay in good spirits. It helps me thrive in life and create a successful business as well as a good home life. And so those are the 8 limbs of yoga. The 8 limbs of yoga are actually what is outlined as the true yogic path. And when we think about yoga, we often think, oh, it's just a physical practice, right? I get on the mat, I stretch, I do my downward dog, I do my tree pose, and that's yoga, right? Yes, but that's actually one piece of the pie. Since there's 8 limbs of yoga, there's 8 different ways that we can kind of practice this. And so I want to lead you through the 8 limbs of yoga. The 8 limbs of yoga were outlined by Patanjali and give us kind of a guideline or a path to enlightenment and self-acceptance and connection. That path begins with the yamas. The yamas are 5 practices of restraints that we have, 5 things that we want to try to refrain from in life. These 5 things are ahimsa, which is Sanskrit for nonviolence or non-harming. And this is considering ourselves and others. I realized that I was harming myself with negative self-talk, and I started to shift the way that I spoke to myself, making sure that I was affirming who I was and knowing that I was powerful and just enough the way that I was. The second yama is satya, which is truthfulness. And for me, this is walking in truthfulness with myself, being my authentic self, embracing my authentic self, and not hiding from the pieces that were a little bit uncomfortable, but really knowing and understanding that, hey, I am who I am because of what's happened to me, and that's okay. Number 3 is asteya, which is non-stealing. When we think about non-stealing, of course, we think about stealing from others or actually taking something, but this can also be stealing from ourselves, stealing time, stealing energy. This can also be stealing from others, stealing ideas, stealing other things, and just the practice of being a non-stealing person can be yoga. Yama number 4 is brahmacharya, which is a conservation of energy, moderation of how you're spending your energy, how you're giving it out to others, and how it's interacting with the world. Sometimes this is often translated as being, I am drawing a blank here, but this can also be abstaining from sexual intercourse or other things, making sure that we're conserving our energy. This is where we're practicing restraint. And yama number 5 is a parigraha, or practicing non-attachment, non-hoarding, and realizing that I didn't have to be so attached to things, outcomes, and people. Those 5 yamas were the first limb of yoga. And once I started to explore that I could practice yoga by practicing nonviolence, truthfulness, non-stealing, conservation of energy, and practicing non-attachment, these are the things I work to restrain from in my life. Moving along to the second limb. The second limb of yoga is the niyamas, and these are observances. These observances are ways that we practice within ourselves. The 5 niyamas are saucha, which translates to cleanliness. This can be cleanliness of our personal body, of the things that we're putting into our body through nutrition and conversations. This can be cleaning up your technology and your timeline. This can be cleaning your physical space, your home, your office, and the places that you are. Practicing cleanliness gives us a space where we're free and we feel open to actually be in that space. And it makes us comfortable and gives us that feeling of safety. The second niyama is santosha, practicing contentment. And I like to say this is just gratitude, giving gratitude for where you are right now. Oftentimes we think to ourselves, things will be better when, instead of just giving gratitude for the things that are right now. And when we give gratitude for the way that things are right now, we open up doors for things to happen to us and abundance unlocks because we don't need to attract abundance. Abundance is already within us. So when we remove the blocks of having to hold on to all of these things and we give gratitude and we're content with what life is right now, we're practicing yoga. The fourth niyama is svadhyaya, which is self-study. This is oftentimes one of my favorite niyamas. This practice of self-reflection and constantly getting to a place where we get to meet ourselves and see ourselves again and again, because we change each and every day. We change within the hour. Things that we liked one moment may not be the things that we like the next moment, and we move on to these things. So practicing self-study on a regular basis and self-reflection and taking a moment to look at ourselves, at our feelings, at our emotions, and why we do the things that we do is the practice of yoga. The fifth and final niyama and observance is Ishvari Pranadhana, which is surrendering to a higher power, surrendering to the divine, surrendering to source, surrendering to God, surrendering to Allah, whoever you see. It's not a religion. It's just a practice of surrendering our lives and saying that, hey, everything will work out the way that it needs to. And when we surrender to that higher power, then we're able to move on with our lives and do the things that we need to in order to thrive. So the yamas and the niyamas are the first 2 limbs of yoga. And these are things that we can practice at any given time to make sure that we are doing the things that we need to. The third limb of yoga is one that we're very familiar with. This is asana practice. This is the actual postures and poses. And with asana practice, we're actually moving our bodies and we're able to get to a place where we're having the physical change in the body. We're moving that energy, the prana, through our chakras and through our physical body to make sure that we feel at an optimal level. But asana can look different. It doesn't have to be flexible poses. It doesn't even have to be you standing in a mat. You can practice on a chair or in a bed. This is the beautiful thing about yoga, is that we can create our own practice. And in knowing and understanding that asana and the postures weren't meant for me to see what my body could do, but yet to use that time to tap into my body and be with myself and connect with myself. And that is the true reason that we practice asana, to balance the chakras physically and to be able to find and connect and be with our own bodies. And it's a beautiful experience when we look at it that way. The fourth limb of yoga is pranayama. And pranayama is control of the breath control. With pranayama, these breathing techniques that we practice help calm our nervous system. These breathing techniques that we practice allow us to tap into our breath, and we can instantly change the chemistry of our body, the way that we're feeling. If we need to calm down because we're in a situation that gives us a threat, then we're able to do that. If we need to rev up our system because we're in a place that we need to protect ourselves or our children or our loved ones, then we can do that. This is the practice of the control of breath and breathing techniques. That is the fourth limb of yoga. The fifth limb of yoga is pratyahara, which is withdrawal of senses. And withdrawing those senses and coming into ourselves, maybe not being so stimulated, pulling away from things like screens and engaging with all of the things that we need to, and really spending that quality, beautiful time with ourselves, even if it's just for a few moments. Because it's not about the quantity of time, it's about the quality of time. And when we spend this time with ourselves, just connecting with ourselves, we learn how to feel safe in our bodies again. And when we feel safe in our bodies again, then we can do the things that we need to in life and thrive. The next limb of yoga is number 6, which is dharana, which is focused concentration. This focused concentration can be on one thing, and this is a kind of precursor to really getting into the meditative state. Oftentimes I hear people say that I don't know how to meditate and I'm not good at it. Maybe you just haven't found the right method for you. There are so many different ways that we can meditate. We can spend that time connecting with ourselves. You can do this through journaling. You can do this while you're folding your laundry or cooking for your family. You can do this by taking a mindful walk around your neighborhood. It's just about spending that concentrated time with yourself, and this is a part of self-care. This is more than the bubble baths and the scented candles can give us. This is a beautiful time that we get to spend and connect with the best person that we know, which is ourselves. And saving ourselves means that we have to know and love and connect with ourselves, and we do this through this process and this path and this journey. The next limb on the journey is number 7, which is dhyana. And this is meditation, meditative absorption. This is where we sit and we're able to increase the time that we sit with ourselves. Some of the most profound meditations that I've had with myself are just 5 minutes as opposed to 20 or 30 minutes. Again, it's not about the quantity, but it's about the quality, and you spending this beautiful time with yourself to just connect and love on yourself and say, hey, I've got this thing about me. And I still love me. No buts, but and. And this is how we really begin to absorb and connect. And the 8th limb of yoga, the final limb in this process, in this journey, is samadhi, which is bliss or enlightenment. And this path that we continue to go on again and again and again leads us to freedom and enlightenment. I don't know about you, but I was at a time in my life where I needed a little bit of freedom. I felt like I was trapped. When I got the diagnosis that I had fibromyalgia, I thought that my life would change forever. I was afraid for how I would cope with all of the changes that would come with my spouse having a brain aneurysm. I didn't have the tools that I needed in order to give me peace when I needed to find peace. I didn't have the tools that I needed to give me energy when I needed to find energy. And I didn't have the tools that I needed to love on myself when I needed to love on myself. Practicing yoga changed my life forever. And it wasn't about getting on the mat, but it was about spending time to connect with myself. Yes, now I have a regular practice where I get up early in the morning and I spend time in meditation, and I spend time in an asana practice, and I spend time journaling and loving on me. But this was developed over time. And the way that I was able to create a practice that worked for me was getting to know me. I can't show up for myself if I don't know how to do that. And the way that I began to do that was peeling back the layers of domestication and the things that society told me I should or needed to be, and embracing that I was me, different me, unique me, weird me. And that is okay. Not only is it okay, it's preferred. And it helps us to find our superpower. Who we are is who we're destined to be. And we have to show up as this person, but we can't show up as this person if we don't know this person, love this person, trust this person, and connect with this person. We do that through these yogic practices. Maybe that's just spending some time with the yamas and the niyamas. Maybe it's taking a few moments a day to get a little bit of spinal movement in. Maybe it's taking a few minutes a day just to tap into your breath and have a mindful moment of just saying, I'm here. Maybe that's with withdrawing your senses and turning off your screens. Maybe it's with spending this time surrendering to the divine. There are so many ways that we can practice yoga. And through my journey as a yoga practitioner, as a yoga teacher, as now a yoga therapist in training, I'm learning and seeing how yoga can truly change our mental health, our physical health, and our spiritual health. And it's one of the few things in the world that actually does all three of those. So if you've been interested in trying out yoga, I encourage you and I implore you to do it. No, there's nothing that you need to know. There's no prerequisites. You don't need to have a flexible body. You don't need to sit with yourself in the quiet, in the dark, with your legs crossed and eyes closed for 20 minutes. That's not necessarily what yoga is. Our yoga practice is something personalized. When we begin to learn who it is that we are, and these practices that we begin to implement, we give ourselves compassion because creating new habits can be hard. And we start with just a little bit at a time. Before I leave you this morning, I want to share a short breathing practice with you so that you can all walk away having said, I have tried yoga. So we're going to take a moment and do a grounding and centering exercise that also includes breathing and pratyahara. So I want you to take a moment wherever it is that you are. If you're in a place where you can close your eyes or soften the gaze, please do that if it feels safe to do so. Take a moment and connect to the place where you're sitting. Know that the surface that you're seated on can and will hold you. Notice your breath. Don't alter it at all. Just bring your awareness to the breath. Is it rushed? Is it calm? Bringing your awareness into the breath and into the body. I want you to notice if you're carrying any tension, maybe in the face, in the jaw, maybe in the shoulders. Take a deep inhale, fill the belly up with air. On the exhale, release the tension that you're holding in your body. If you need a couple more, take a couple more breaths. And with each exhale, you feel the tension melt away from your body, knowing that you are safe by the surface that's holding you. On the next inhale, you can repeat out loud or to yourself, say, I am on the inhale, and on the exhale, here. Inhale, I am. Exhale, here. Inhale, I am. Exhale, soften and release the tension as you land here. You're grounded, you're safe, and you're connected. Whenever it feels good for you, if you have your eyes closed, you can flutter them open and come back into the moment. You are here, and you are enough exactly the way that you are. There's nothing that you need to change or alter about yourself. However, maybe you need to get to know yourself a little bit better so that you can show up for yourself better, so that you can save yourself, sis, because that's what we're here to do. I hope that you all had a good time with me this morning in this short chat and this short practice. And I hope that you take what you learned here and try it out somewhere. Maybe the next time you're out and you want to punch someone in the throat, you think about ahimsa and how you're not going to harm them. Or maybe the next time you're super attached to an outcome or a person, you think about aparigraha and non-attachment and saying that you don't need anything outside of yourself to be who you are. Lots of love and light to each and every one of you. And if you'd like more information about how to start your own yoga practice, make sure that you check out the website, Holistically Whole Yoga School.online. I will see you all soon.